Highway.
Y'all know what this is.
What's up, everybody? It's time, baby. We're in the full effect.
It's time. We're going to cat mode time. All right, you should watch it live and in effect, bro.
I love it, man. What a time to be a Cowboys fan. Eliminated as fuck, right? Watching the playoff seats set up. So let's get this show going, bro. Let's get the show going. We got a lot of topics to talk about tonight. It's gonna be fun, and can't do this without you guys. So this is our Q&A session. We have a lot of topics to talk about tonight, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, I'm looking forward to the interaction in the chat box and everything like that. So shout out to you guys. First of all, happy new year, bro. 2026 is here. Let's see what we are blessed with this year, and let's see what happens with the Cowboys. That's what we're going to talk about today. You know, let's do some. I'm going to give you some of my predictions on the Cowboys, and along the way, you know, I'll be looking at your comments and questions in the chat box, and we'll talk about it as we get going. So, final game tomorrow, and that'll be it. They put a bow on it. All right. So, and then the fun begins. It's another part of the season called the off season. All right. Full of intrigue, full of speculation, hope, dreams, all kinds of crap, right? That's kind of what we've been accustomed to here for Cowboys fan for, you know, going on 30 years in a row now. 1996, February, that'll be the official 30th anniversary of the last time our boys were in a Super Bowl and won it. All right, so there's that 30th anniversary. What the hell are we gonna do? Maybe 2026 will be the year. You know what I mean? But we'll quickly talk about the game here coming up. I think we might see Dak for a quarter. You know what I mean? I hope we don't see him for more than that. You know, we already have some deactivations. Javante's out. Malik Davis is going to be out, and a couple other guys. So I think you are going to get a good look at you know, your backups. You'll probably get a good look at Joe Milton, your backup wide receivers, Tolbert, Mingo, and these guys. So just come out of the game not injured. You know what I mean? Try not to ruin your draft stock. Your draft stock. Giants are going to be trying to do the same thing. You know what I mean? If the Giants win that game, they could go from second all the way to, like, I don't know what, like, they could drop significantly if they win. So we'll see what their game plan is. But I hope we don't accidentally win this game. There's no need for it, man. You know what I mean? There really isn't. Just lose the fucking game. You know, right now I think we're at 13. Let's get caught up on that. Let's see where we're at as far as like the draft. Let's take a look at this. Let's look at this, man. Let me pull this up here. Where we got it at? Let's see here. Let me take a look here and see what we got. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is our draft ranking right now. And you can tell right now we currently sit at 13. All right. 13 right now, 7-8-1. We're behind Carolina. Carolina's going to play the Bucks for the NFC South Championship, pretty much. The winner goes to the playoffs. Loser goes home. All right. And you look at the Packers, that's our other pick in the Micah trade. They're at 21. They're on a 3-game skid. All right. So let the losing for them continue. Maybe they go all the way down to 19 or so. You know what I mean? Hopefully they're at the very bottom there. All right. So that's currently where we're at in draft position. A loss would go a long way for us. We can't get to the top 10 with a loss, but it is possible that you could get to 11, I believe. If you go 7-9-1, and then Miami and Atlanta win, you know, there's a possibility you could go 11. That would be an ideal situation. It would be a dream come true, right? Worst case scenario, Cowboys accidentally win, and depending on how the rest of these teams go, we could hop up all the way to go all the way up to like 17 or 18 possibly. So yeah, they gotta lose. All right. So that's what's on the line for the Cowboys, man. What are you guys thinking here, man? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to win or do you want them to lose? Space Cowboy in the chat box. Good to see you, man. Good to see everybody in the chat box. Highest we can go is 11, and the lowest we get is 18. So spot on there. Thank you. Shout out my boy there, Space Cowboy. Good to see you in the chat box, bro. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Let's try to get 11, and let's avoid 18. Thank you, Space. Thanks for confirming that there. Great stuff there. So that's where we're at draft wise. Okay. Other topics here that we want to discuss is, you know, obviously, I think the elephant in the room obviously is going to be Matt Eberflus in the defense. You're just seeing more little snippets leak out from the local reporters, and when you start seeing that, it's pointing towards it's gonna be a divorce. He's out of here, bro. I know some people are still kind of scared, like, oh, they might fuck this up and keep him. From what you're seeing now here from local guys starting to report this, it's probably he's out of here, bro. I mean, you can't have the record worst defense in franchise history and keep the guy. You just can't do it, man. You know, you can't do it. You can't do it just for the sake of, oh, this will be the another consecutive change at DC. I mean, you can't keep him. I mean, and nobody bought into the system. He didn't elevate anybody. People took a step back, right? So you can't bring him back, man. You bring him back, and it would guarantee you, you'll be in the same place as you were this year. You know what I mean? Probably even worse. I think people would be like, I think the players would be like, dude, you brought this dude back. Fuck this. We ain't going anywhere. They'll be more checked out than ever. It would be a worse season. So good to see that these little tidbits are coming out. It looks like he is definitely on the way out. Well, now what we want to talk about is we'll touch on the rules and regulations, right? You have the Sunday games, and then you have Black Monday. Black Monday is when the chopping block happens, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you hire a replacement that day. There is a process. There are rules in place. And we're going to talk about that here right now to discuss that. So let's take a look at this here, guys. All right. Let me pull this up. This is going to be the schedule here. So this is the rules as they have it right now, the NFL. When can you start interviewing these guys, right? So the rumors, you know, obviously Brian Flores, he hasn't signed yet, and by all accounts, he's gonna look at the other offers. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's a guarantee that he is back with the Vikings. So, and if that's the case, if we look at this rule here, first possible interviews virtual for non-playoff candidates, which would be the Vikings because they're not going to be in the playoffs. and that's going to be 3 days. Sorry, it's kind of blocked off here. 3 days after the end of the season. So you're looking at the earliest you can start doing virtual interviews January 7th through the 9th. So that's when you're going to see things crank up for us, hopefully. The thing is, they have to announce that Eberflus is out of here. There should be no dragging of the feet and none of this. It should be Black Monday post conference. He's gone. He's out of here. It didn't work. Whatever they got to say. All right. But the 7th through the 9th. So you can start getting the ball rolling with coaches like this. Like we're talking about Brian Flores. All right. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about Brian Flores, right? So he would be the hottest candidate, and the Cowboys, they will pay him, right? So January 7th through the 9th, you can bring him in for a virtual interview, right? Because they're not in the playoffs anymore. So Brian Flores, regarded as one of these high-end defensive coordinators, has not re-signed with the Vikings. He's on an expiring contract, so anybody can talk to him. You know what I mean? Not only the Cowboys, but other teams, possibly other new staffs that are going to be, hit the floor running, right? So Black Monday comes, you announce these guys are all cut, and then you can begin the process, right? So Brian Flores, he would fit the bill there as an external candidate. He would also check the box off there for the Rooney Rule. Now, the Rooney Rule does apply to coordinators. This is a new thing that started in 2021, where the Rooney Rule is now applied to your coordinators, offensive, defensive, and special teams. So look for that to check the box there. Brian Flores, he checks those boxes, but mainly you want this guy to come in here and elevate your players, which he's done. Everywhere he's gone, he has elevated the players. You know what I mean? You can't deny that. His defenses are solid. You know what I mean? So he's one of these top end guys. All right. So now, if you're looking at teams that are still in the playoffs, but before we get to that, we want to look at, who another name here that I think is kind of gaining some momentum here that I've been hearing rumblings on, and that's going to be this guy right here, a very good defensive coordinator, defensive coach, and that is this guy right here. Assistant of the Year 2023, Jim Schwartz. All right. This guy is a badass motherfucker, dude. All right. If y'all don't get Brian Flores, I think for me, I'm going in on Jim Schwartz. This guy puts together high-end defenses, won the Super Bowl with the Eagles here recently, before going to the Browns. And then with the Browns, he got like the AP Assistant of the Year. I think that was 2023. So pretty recent. I mean, this year his defense still pretty good. Browns offense obviously pretty trashy, but he's able to elevate these D linemen and really, play for something. So Jim Schwartz would be another one of these candidates that when we get to January 7th and the 9th, virtual interview, Jim Schwartz. We're hearing that Kevin Stefanski is going to be out here for the Browns, so that staff is going to be looking for a new team. And I mean, it is possible that they could interview Jim Schwartz for a head coach, but I doubt it. They're probably going to be looking at somebody else with a little bit more of experience or playoff type of experience as a head coach instead of an actual coordinator. So Jim Schwartz, he's another one here, another badass that I'd like to bring in here January, as soon as we hit the ground running. All right, so 7th through the 9th, those are the key dates for the Cowboys. This is the key dates for us to start hearing about names. Now, if you want to get some virtuals in with the playoff teams, that's not allowed until January 10th through the 12th. All right, so You could be looking at Al Harris in that area there. For the Bears, you could be looking at various other coordinators that are in that round, and then through the 13th to the 18th virtual interviews here. So you could be looking at other candidates as well. And we've all talked about a lot of these here recently. So if you're new, if you haven't seen anything, you'll see that we've been talking about this hard and heavy here at this channel. Some other places are barely getting on with the discussion, but I've seen this a mile away, bro. Like, Eberflus sucks. Never liked to hire Jim Leonard. All right, hot coach, assistant, ready to make the leap. Vance Joseph supposedly has interest from other teams. I don't know how. I think the Titans are in play for Vance Joseph. He's not a good head coach, bro. But if that were to happen, Jim Leonard, he could slide into the DC spot there at Denver. So that'll be something to watch. Now, we did find out that the Cowboys did talk to him last season. So there was 3 teams that actually talked to Jim Leonard last cycle. He turned them all down. The Cowboys were one of them. So I don't know if he would change his position now, but he would be in the mix here. But you won't be able to talk to him until mid-January here virtually, right? So you'll have to wait a little bit there. In person, the earliest that you can actually bring this guy to the Star Frisco, January 20th. In-person interviews can begin for most candidates not in playoff contention. All right, so let's say they have their eyes on Brian Flores, Jim Schwartz, one of these other guys not in playoff contention, January 20th. All right, that's where you would look at the in-person interviews. Cowboys could obviously speed all this up. They do have to hit those Rooney rules though, right? So let's take a look at this. Let's get a closer look at what this actually is, right? So the Rooney rule, this is how it is, and this started in 2021. Teams must interview at least 2 external minority candidates. All right. And we're looking at the coordinator. So external, right? So you're probably going to look at them, you might see them bring in some guys that you really, would be like, oh man, why are we interviewing this guy? It's for this, right? Like, you might see them bring in like freaking I don't know, just anybody, right? They might look at Ron Rivera. That would count as a external minority candidate. They may look at anybody that would be available. Maybe Raheem Morris from the Atlanta. He gets canned. He's available. He would fit that, right? So they got to bring in 2 external candidates. It used to be where the Cowboys, they would like interview like an in-house dude, right? Like your tight end coach or Gary Brown. I remember they did that one year, and it was like, okay, man, like they're just trying to check the box off here. This shit ain't even realistic, right? But that's what they have in place right now. There is the Rooney rule in place for your coordinators, offensive, defenses, and special teams. So there's going to be a little bit of a process here. Don't expect the announcement to happen immediately, especially for teams that are still going to be in playoff contention. Like we're talking about, like Jim Leonard. You may be looking at somebody from Seattle staff, the Rams staff. There's a couple of guys there that could be in the mix there for the Cowboys. But there's going to be a timetable involved here, as you can see here. Conference Championship, January 25th. Candidates still active that day must wait until elimination from the Conference Championship for in-person interviews. So January 25th. By this time, you're already probably getting ready for the Senior Bowl. You might have to go to the Senior Bowl without a defensive coordinator in place, unless it's one of these guys that has been eliminated from the playoffs and you nail down a contract. But they have to move very fast. So hopefully these guys already have a list in place so they can fulfill these rules and then make an offer. All right. Maybe they don't need him to come in person. I mean, ideally, you would want them to. So that's January 20th if you want to do those in-person interviews. So January 20th, that's about 2 weeks after Black Monday. So I don't expect the hire to be announced. Like, I know some fans are like, oh, the next day, Brian Flores. There's going to be a little bit of a wait. I know not a lot of us don't want to hear that, but there's going to be a little bit of a wait here, assuming they do the right thing and go through an extensive hiring process. And hopefully they're looking at the main dudes here that we have been talking about. You know what I mean? So, Danny Savage, I have a bad feeling it's Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan, don't be surprised if you see him on there, right? He would be an external candidate, but he wouldn't fulfill the minority part about it. So, but it's still a name here that they might just get his input, you know what I mean, just to make it look like they're doing something. I just don't see him as a fit there. It would seem like he would undermine Brian Schottenheimer to try to, move into that head coach position. I really don't trust Rex Ryan, to be honest. So that's how this is the timetable, guys, for our next defensive coordinator. All right, writings on the wall. Local beat writers are starting to move on these reports as well. So writings on the wall. Eberflus is out. All right, and we're looking at January 7th through the 20th. The 20th, I think, would be that week there where you bring in somebody if they're no longer in the playoffs. If they are looking at guys still in the playoffs, and this could go all the way to the Super Bowl, February. So let's see what happens there, guys. What defensive coordinator candidate do you guys want to see the Cowboys bring in here? Or who do you hope the Cowboys hire? Let me know in the chat box. Who do you like? Do you like Flores, Schwartz, Jim Leonard, any of the dudes from the Rams? Do you like? Let me know, guys. Let me know who you guys are liking here as a potential candidate here at the end of the day, as we get through this process together here over the next couple of weeks. Let's see what we got here. Alex 2643. Brian Flores, my favorite of the bunch, and definitely a no BS type of coach that will get all these soft players out of here. Yes, we got to get the soft players out of here. The guys that don't want to play through injury, the guys that milk it, right? I want to see that happen on the offensive side of the ball too, because I feel like Tyler Guyton is one of these soft ass players that just milks his rehab, right? I called it on this guy, dude. I called it on freaking Tyler Guyton. I said, watch. This fucker's going to drag it out IR. That's exactly what happened, dude. He sucks, bro. Tackle is going to be another position here. This is a good one here. Brian Flores or Todd Bowles, if that go by Tampa Bay. Supposedly, Tampa Bay would still be with Bowles one more season. This is the latest I've been reading out of Tampa Bay. Local beat writers are kind of starting to report this as well. So it looks like he's going to be safe. You know what I mean? Unless this is a terrible blowout type of win by the Panthers. It looks like win or loss, he's still going to be on board there. So I think Todd Bowles, unfortunately, is probably going to be scratched off of our list. I would love Todd Bowles, man. You know what I mean? I think he's a phenomenal coach. Parcells Tree. I think trees matter. You know what I mean? When it comes to these types of hires. So we'll see there on that, man. But, Flores is definitely the hottest name there. It just feels like that's the common name. And the way it happens here with Cowboys Nation, the name that everybody gets fixated on, the Cowboys tend to pivot and go somewhere else. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised by that either. If it's not Flores, they'll pivot and go somewhere else. So that's what it is there. Guy looks like a detective in Menace to Society. Guy's just so I don't know, man. He just we should have gone a different route. Bucks won, so probably same. So Bucks won, huh? Good. So that's good for them. They're gonna be in the playoffs. All right. So they won there. I know there were some Saturday games here. I guess that was one of them. Danny Savage. Imagine we picking 18 and 21. That's like a nice glass of cognac and a bologna sandwich. That's funny, man. Let's see what else we got here on the docket. No, I have one here. We didn't talk about this really last week, so we'll touch on this here. And I want to get your guys' opinion on this here. All right. The news that came out here, just a few days ago, last week, I guess you could say, or earlier this week. And that is this nonsense right here. That it is the dating game between Michael Parsons and Trevon Diggs. They are back together with the Packers, obviously. They made it happen. All right? They made it happen. And Cowboys move on from Trevon Diggs. Michael Parsons gets his boy there. It's kind of a weird type of deal there. I don't know what's going on there, but they made it happen. All right, so what do you guys think about this? Are you glad that the Cowboys moved on from Trevon Diggs? Let me know in the comments. Or did they hit the eject button too soon on Trevon Diggs? Let me know what you guys think. Was this a good move by the Cowboys? Or are they going to regret this? Because I think, for me, I'll give you my answer. I think that this was a move in the making. You know what I mean? I think this goes back to the workouts, the $500,000 that they took out of Diggs' pocket, and the relationship just fell apart there. You know what I mean? And then the injuries kept mounting up. There wasn't really much more value there. So you got to believe that the Cowboys will, in fact, be looking at cornerback, depending on what they do in free agency, and we'll hit on that topic here soon. So that's a little bit later, another segment here that we're gonna cover. But let me know what you guys think about this. All right, questions and comments. We got one of Stevie Mack. Diggs is cooked if he stays at corner. That foot injury clearly messed him up. Yeah, I would say he's injury prone, man. I would say that he's definitely not healthy anymore, and I do wonder who did his knee surgery. Was it Dr. Frankenstein, Dan Cooper, Dr. Cooper? Did he fuck his knee up? I couldn't confirm who did the surgery, but he hasn't been the same. So that's where we're at on that there. Let me see. So they're back together, bro. Diggs and Parsons, they're back together, man. So it's a crazy thing, man, to see how, these guys come to the league. They have a really good season, record-breaking interceptions there for Trevon Diggs. Everybody fell in love with his kid on Hard Knocks. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy how fast things change, dude, and over the span of 2 years or so. It's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. And with Diggs being gone, and that 2020 draft class is a disaster. All you have left now is CeeDee Lamb. So that's 5 seasons ago. Five seasons removed, and all you have left is CeeDee Lamb. They're not drafting good. They're not drafting good. Oh, we build the team through the draft. Well, fuck, dude. If that's what they're doing, we're fucked, dude. Like, they don't draft good, bro. But people will try to tell you, we're one of the best drafting teams in the league. No, we're not. We're not. It's the information, the statistics, everything is out there in black and white, and we are not one of the best teams in the draft. We don't draft good. Marvel and Groot. What up, Joe Ryan? What's up, bro? Good to see you in the chat box. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you out there, man. We got a trade Dak comment in here. Tom Hetrick, 84.26, trade that. His contract is so huge. I don't think anybody would take him, and he's on the wrong side of the 30s. Honestly, he has slowed down significantly. Will McClay is a red flag, and people do cover up for him, bro. Like I've heard certain people, try to defend him, like as if, oh, it's the coaches. No, you saw him defend his choice for Mozzie Smith instead of drafting Bergeron. And we didn't even see the interaction of how they drafted Taco Charlton. I want to see that interaction, dude, because he probably did the same shit on taking Taco Charlton over. I want to know who that other player was. I bet it was TJ Watt, bro. And he sold him. He's making those picks, bro. There's no, oh, he's drafting for this person and that. He's been here for a while now, and it's consistently bad on defense, especially. You know what I mean? So I'm done defending him, dude. I thought he was good, but he did write the coattails of that Zach Martin draft, and it bought him a lot of leeway. Okay, so this is a good example here, right? The Ravens and the Cowboys are almost the same damn team, and I guarantee you, dude, that the Ravens will draft a quarterback in the first round before the Cowboys do, because Lamar, he's still in his 20s, but that window is creaking closed. He's getting more hurt. He's gonna be right there, bro, where that window's gonna close on him. And the Ravens, they're gonna draft a quarterback in the first round, bro, and it'll be before the Cowboys do. I promise you that, bro. I can almost guarantee that. Oh, they moved on from Lamar. Oh my God. No, you have to do that, dude. But the Cowboys, they love to hang on to these players, and they love to pay them a shitload and kick that can down the road. All right, so let's talk a little bit about another subject here: free agency, right? And the offseason. So let me pull this up for you guys. Pound that like button. In the meantime, if you haven't already, while I pull this up. And we're talking about this right here, guys. This is an off-season topic that is rearing its head. And we're talking about Max Crosby, bro. That is the thumbnail of this video. And it's because the Raiders are looking to possibly move him now. You know what I mean? They have opened that door now. So with that being the case, are you now in favor of using one of those first round picks on Max Crosby? What would the cost be? You know what I mean? It looks like they're going to be drafting number 1 overall, right? They're talking about getting Mendoza, the quarterback. I think that's the right move for them. So, if you can get some more, another one to build around him, maybe you do move Crosby. Would it be the Cowboys, though? Would they do it? Would they trade one of those ones? Would they trade that? Let's say the Cowboys are at 11. That's a pretty damn high first-round pick, and then maybe next year's second or something like this, or, it's going to cost some money, though. You know what I mean? Is he worth 2 first-round picks? Chat box, comments, let me know. What would you give for Max Crosby? Would you just give up 1 first-round pick? Would you give up both of those first-round picks to acquire him and call it a day for the draft, and then draft your 4th and 5th and 7th round picks? It's very tempting, but Cowboys, they have a lot of holes, man. As tempting as it is, unless you can get this guy for a steal, like a future second, or I don't know. They're going to be looking for some draft capital, though. So I could see this dude going to the Eagles, man. He isn't. This is the type of pick that the Eagles would do. Cowboys, and we'll talk about this. I have an interesting take when we talk a little bit more about free agency. But guys, let me know what would you give up for Max Crosby, or would you not give anything up for him? Let me see what you are saying here in the chat box. Let's take a look here. Danny Savage, hell no. So that he doesn't want to trade for Crosby. Tom Hendrick, I would not give up a first for him. Okay. I think they do trade Green Bay first round for day 2 picks. Okay. Let me see. I'll pull up this comment. I trade the later of the 2 first. Okay. Alex, appreciate that. Marlon Group, I'd give the Raiders the Packers 2026 first round pick. Okay. I wonder if that would be enough. Would that be enough to get him? I feel like it would be more, though. You know, defensive ends are high commodity. Everybody wants to get after the quarterback. I feel like it would be, I think the opening number would be a first round minimum and then future other high picks. You know what I mean? I think he's going to get traded, bro. I think that they are going to trade him, but they're going to be looking for multiple picks to rebuild that team. And the Cowboys, we don't have enough picks. We've already used them on Pickens, Quinnen Williams, you know, those two. So honestly, for me, I don't think that we do get it done. I don't think the Cowboys would be in play. It's going to be interesting to see if somehow they do, but probably not. Probably not. Super chat in the house here. Cowboys Corner, what's up, bro? Yeah, here we go. Cowboys Corner, good to see you in the chat box, bro. Appreciate you, man. My partner there from the Frisco Report in the house. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you in the house. First round pick fair, but I would not. Yeah. Imagine Ezraku, Osa, Kenny Clark, Quinnen, and Crosby with Demo and Sonny Styles. I mean, that does sound badass. Minus Osa. I think Osa fucking sucks, but easy. If we get the right coordinator here that can elevate and utilize Ezraku, I think you're in good shape here. I love Kenny Clark, man. I think the Cowboys have to find a way to rework that contract and bring him back. And him and Quinnen Williams, I think, are your best defensive tackles on this team. The Marvian, we really got to see what he does. Hasn't looked obviously the same. Still, I think he's still recovering, but that's a lot of injury for him. You know what I mean? He definitely lost a little bit of speed there from those injuries. Sonny Styles is a linebacker that I really do like. Mocks have him coming to the Cowboys right now, but he could easily creep up the mock drafts here as we get to, you know, scouting combine, pro days, these types of deals. All these guys could go up. Crosby Stills in that. Oh man, that's an old school name right there, bro. Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's take a deep dive. Let's take a look at our free agency. Right. Let's take a look where we're at on that. Let's remove that. We talked about Micah and Diggs, the love affair, the down low, as I say. Those two vatos. Those two vatos are doing the down low shit. You know what I'm saying? Diggs and Parsons. Loteria 2000. That kind of shit. All right, it's just too apparent. It's too apparent. All right, so let's pull this up, man. Hold on, let me get my link here ready for you. While I'm pulling that up, hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. We're having a good time here tonight. Saturday night antics, as I call it. I love calling it that, dude. Random shit. I think it's stuck. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. All right. Free agency now. All right. Let's talk about our free agents. And then we're going to take a look at our free agents 2026. And after that, we're going to look at the league, who's available and who could be a Cowboys type of acquisition. I'll give you who I would want, and I'm going to give you what I think this shitty front office is going to do. All right. Because they have an MO of what they like to do. First, let's look at our 2026 crop of free agents. Let me see here. Where are we? Why isn't this coming up? Oh, here we go. All right. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I can. All right, this isn't like my Mac where I can zoom in easily. This Dell's a little shittier, dude. All right. Come on. Hold on, man. Let me get this thing fixed here. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. So we're looking at our Cowboys 2026. We got 21 here, according to Sport Rack. Okay. And let's talk about who's coming, who's going, bro. Kenneth Murray, he's out of here, right? Donovan Wilson, injury prone. I don't see him coming back. Fowler, I don't see him coming back. Robert Jones, the guard. All right, do you need guard depth? He didn't play a damn down for us. I think he went to like immediate IR, right? So I don't know if they bring him back. Jadeveon Clowney was very serviceable for us, but Clowney's one of these dudes. He's a hired mercenary, right? Clowney doesn't like to participate in off-season activities, training camp. He likes to sign later, right? So the only way I think the Cowboys bring him back is if they give him some money, a decent contract, where he says, okay, I'll sign and I'll show up for off-season activities. But Clowney's at that age already. He's 32. He's going to be 33, right? So he's not about this off-season workouts and all this shit. He's about working on his own, being the hired mercenary. And he did a good job for us, bro. I'd say he was probably your best edge rusher, man, which is sad. At this age, he outplayed these dudes, the younger guys that have been on the team. So I would kick the tires on that again, man. Check and see where he's at. Does he want to play some more? Does he want to play for a 2-year deal and show up for off-season activities and this sorts of thing? And if so, I would bring him back. I would not bring back Dante Fowler. Fowler sucks. I was never a fan of him, dude. That was a Dan Quinn type of dude going back to Florida, the Gators. He went to Dan Quinn and with Washington last season. He had double-digit sacks over there and came back here, didn't do shit, right? So move on from him. Javonte Williams, I do want to bring him back. I think you can bring him on a decent deal. So maybe a 2 or 3 year deal. You know what I mean? Maybe 3 years, 15 or somewhere like this. No, he's probably gonna want more though. You're probably looking at maybe $7 million a year, maybe. I'm not sure. So we'll see what they do with Javonte. He is a free agent though. Peyton Turner, former first-round bust, didn't sniff the field. Not bringing him back. George Pickens, we've been talking about him, right? Franchise tag is probably the route they're going to go for him. The franchise tag amount for the wide receiver 2026 is $28 million, right? But he's looking at he wants a contract over that. He's going to want more than CeeDee Lamb. So I think the opening number for him would be $30 million per year. You know what I mean? And Do the Cowboys do that, or do they do franchise tag and trade? Is another one, right? Do they do? It'll be interesting to see. Do they give him the franchise tag, not an exclusive, or do they give him the other version, which basically non-exclusive, right? Means that he can make a deal with somebody else. The exclusive franchise tag means that only the Cowboys can sign this dude. So it'll be interesting to see what type of franchise tag they give him. That's basically the one that you're looking at. Is it going to be non-exclusive or is it going to be exclusive? So that'll be the main verbiage you'll want to pay attention there for George Pickens if they go that route. And Mullen-Guetta, right? That's his agent. So there's that to deal there again with Jerry Jones. Obviously not his favorite agent to work with. So that might be something there that they don't have confidence in working out a deal. So maybe it is just going to be a franchise deal. You know what I mean? Sam Williams, hell no, I don't want him back. Jack Sanborn, he was a total bust. Backup, they tried to sell you it, and other creators tried to sell you on Sanborn too, bro, with the workouts, and they tried to say that he was all badass with the Bears. He was a situational backup linebacker. But some of these creators were like, oh, he was badass and stopping the run and this and that. And he wasn't about shit, man. Call out these fucking people giving lies, bro. Like, for real. And I knew it was bullshit, dude. Miles Sanders, too old, too beat up. Jalen Tolbert, no good. Goodwin, he's going to be 36, bro, by the time. Somehow he keeps on finding a way back to the Cowboys as a special teams ace. He's almost like a low-key Bill Bates, right, dude? Where this guy just seems to stick around as a special team ace. That's a guy I think the Cowboys say, hey, man, do you want to come back and play? We'll give you a 1-year deal, another one. CJ Goodwin, honestly, I could see him coming back, one of the rare ones from this list. Valentine, Adeniji, Hoffman, maybe. Juanye Thomas, I could see them throwing him a 1-year deal just for depth, especially depending on if they let go of Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker, then you definitely got to bring somebody for some sort of depth. So I think Juanye Thomas would be a guy that they would bring in here to be like, hey, we do need some depth here. You're going to compete with another free agent, or you're going to compete with a draft pick. TJ Bass, guard. I think that he might find himself a starting gig somewhere. TJ Bass almost kind of reminds me like a McGovern type of player, somebody who's a decent backup. You know what I mean? Who could find himself a starter job somewhere on another team. I think TJ Bass could be that. Brandon Aubrey, he's a restricted free agent, right? So all they have to do is say yes, we want him back, and he's back. So he'll be back. Josh Butler, Ready Stewart, Ready Player One. I always call this dude Ready Player One. So maybe they bring back this guy for cornerback depth. You will see them bring back some of these guys on small ass deals. But like some of these names, like the main ones, dude, like Kenneth Murray, fucking Sam Williams, bro. I hope they don't bring this guy back, even on a small deal. Move on from him already, right? Guys, let me know what you think about the free agent list. Is there any one of these dudes that you think we definitely need to bring back? How do you feel about Clowney? How do you feel about Javonte? Donovan? Let me know in the comments. Let's see what we got here, guys. Let me catch up and follow what we got going on here.
In the chat box, baby.
I love it, man. I love it this time of year. Definitely bring back Jay Will. On B23, definitely bring back Javonte Williams. Yeah, I agree, bro. When you do, here we go. Resign George Pickens and Aubrey. Okay. See what other comments we got here. No more special teams ace. Yeah, they could move on from him. You know what I mean? The special teams coach is going to be another guy that the Cowboys need to really nail here because they can't bring back Sorensen. That guy was a disaster, right? Caleb Downs. Yep, he might be in the mix there if the Cowboys decide they want to go safety in the first round. Hasn't happened since drafting Roy Williams out of the Sooners. Jackson Dart legacy game tomorrow. Let's see what happens with that there. I really just want to come out of that game healthy and with the loss. You know, I want to move. I want us to get as close to 10 as possible. You know what I mean? That way there's no that way we don't have to play with that whole, oh man, let's move up and this shit. Because I don't see they're gonna do what they do. They're gonna stick and pick, right? There's always that speculation come draft season about, oh, they're gonna move up. You know, they never do. The Cowboys don't move up, dude. It's been very, very rare, right? I think the last guy that they moved up in the first round was Bryant, Des Bryant, right? Other than that, these guys have stuck and picked. They did move back a few spots when they drafted Parsons. But for the most part, they have not moved up in the first round to go get somebody, you know. So there's that. Let's take a look at the potential free agents that the Cowboys could look at here. This is what I wanted to look at. So let me pull that up. Give me one moment here, guys. While I pull that up, please hit that subscribe button, and I do appreciate it. Let's see. Let me pull this up here. These are our 2026 NFL free agents. Let's pull this up here. I'm going to give you some names here to look at. There, here we go. We're in business here. We're in business. All right. I don't know if I could get this thing to... I'm having that issue again where I'm trying to hold on, man. This thing's driving me crazy, man. This freaking Dell piece of shit. Come on, you piece of junk. All right, here we go. That's good enough. Let me pull this up here, guys. This is the NFL availability. Now, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at some names here that I like, and I'll give you some names that the idiot Cowboy front office might like. All right, so let's kick this off here. Hendrickson, free agent, right? I think he's kind of banged up, 31 years old. Could the Cowboys go all in on him? You know, for maybe they don't go in on Crosby because you got to give up draft picks. Hendrickson, at 31 years old, Bengals didn't look like they had any intentions on extending him. So he played on that final deal, right? So 31 years old, edge. What do you think about Hendrickson? Anybody? If they make any kind of splash, does Trey Hendrickson do anything for you? All right. I don't think the Cowboys do. I'm just saying I don't think the Cowboys do. What would you give for him? The Cowboys would probably try to give him a cheap deal and see if he would bite on it, but he can probably still earn some money somewhere else. Here's an interesting one here for you guys. Mike Evans, right? He's gonna be a free agent. Bucks, I don't think they're gonna re-sign him. Then they've revamped their wide receiver core. Would you give Mike Evans some money here? Let's say the scenario is this. let's say the Cowboys do a franchise tag and trade, right? Let's say they go George Pickens. We're gonna franchise tag you, but we're gonna deal you to somebody, right? So they get the first round pick, but then you need a number 2, right? How would you feel about Lamb, Evans, and Flanoy? Does that do anything for anybody? Plus the first round pick that you acquired for tag and trading George Pickens. Does that do anything for anybody? Anybody have anything interest in Evans? I do. I like Evans. He's solid. He's been back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for many seasons. A little long in the tooth, though, right? And this season, I think those injuries started to rear their head. But, it'll be interesting. Does he want to come back to Texas, right? He grew up in the area, A&M, high school, obviously. Outstanding player, a professional. He does the things the right way. So I think this is something to keep an eye on. You know what I mean? If this scenario has come up about tag and trade, you better have a backup plan there for that other number 2. I'm not sold on Flanoy being a number 2. He's a number 3. All right, let's get that right. So if you were to do that, that would be a name to consider. Once we go down this list, Khalil Mack, older guy. Cowboys, they don't really go for the older dudes, right? So although he's an edge rusher, I don't see the Cowboys making that move there. Deebo Samuel, 29, he'll be 30, right? So he's on the wrong side at the wide receiver position, injury prone. Braden Smith, the right tackle. I think this is an interesting name here that I would maybe consider. Braden Smith, right tackle. Terrence Steele, I don't know if they bring him back, man. I think he might be a cut. Braden Smith available. I liked him coming out in the draft, man. Braden Smith. It's amazing how fast the seasons go by. It's just crazy how time flies, bro. So he would be available there. He wouldn't be cheap, but he's an upgrade. He's an upgrade over Terrence Steele. You got Jonah Williams. Maybe he is somebody the Cowboys are bringing here because you do have a connection here on the offensive staff, right? So Jonah Williams, right tackle, connection there with Clayton Adams, former O-line coach there for the Cardinals. He'll give you the inside track there on Jonah Williams. Free agent there for the Cardinals. Better than Terrence Steele, right? He could be in the mix there, right? Keep an eye on that one there. Jonah Williams, all right. Joe Bitonio, I loved him. I always wanted the Cowboys to get this guy back in the day. He has already gotten too old, though. 34. He probably needs to just go ahead and hang it up. Kyle Duggar, a good safety. Yeah, would you do a 1-year deal for him? I think that he might be one of these 1-year deal kind of guys for the Cowboys. Yes, depending on what they do with their safeties. They did have interest in Kyle Duggar during the draft process. Chronicles of Reddick, edge rusher kind of guy. Former high pick, but a little long in the tooth. But I mean, so is Clowney, right? So would you bring in Hassan Reddick as a hired mercenary? All right. He's probably going to want about 10, 12 million a season. So maybe you do a 1 year. David Njoku. How do you feel about the tight ends with the Cowboys? They're not very good, man. Ferguson, I think he hit his ceiling. Brevin Spanford, same deal. But people are trying to sell it. Oh, Brevin Spanford, give him more and this and that, and he'll show something. I've seen enough from all these dudes, man. Njoku, he's a good run blocker too. But injury prone, right? Njoku misses a lot of time, so I don't know, man. And the Cowboys will probably just stay with what they have, right? They did just extend Ferguson. Jamil Dean, cornerback. He can be in play. Now, here is this name right here. This is a Cowboys special. Will McClay special. Joey Bosa, former first-round bust. He is a bust, bro. We're not talking his brother, right? Nick Bosa's the real deal, right? From the 49ers. Joey Bosa is kind of a bust type of player, former first-round player. Will McClay and McBust, they trust. Joey Bosa, McClay, I could see that. And name recognition, former first-round bust, Joey Bosa. Watch that name for the Cowboys. Will McClay, cheap motherfucker. Roll the dice. You know, you'll get a couple of sacks from him. Misses a lot of time, though. Guy's banged up, man. He misses a lot of time, but he hits the check boxes for a Will McClay. Name recognition. Former first-round bust. You know, and that. So, he can get you some sacks here and there. So, Joey Bosa would be a name to consider there. And so, keep an eye on Joey Bosa, right? Cam Robinson, left tackle. Kind of been bouncing around the league here, right? I think he played with the Jags for a minute. Browns. Is he better than Guyton? I wish we didn't go into this offseason with the question mark with the tackles, bro. Because there's just going to be a lot of speculation and it's going to affect the draft. You know, like, do we need to draft another damn O-lineman early? And it sucks, dude, because to me, Guyton's not it, man. He doesn't show it, dude. And maybe you do give him a look at right tackle to salvage it if you get rid of Steele. But there's no guarantee that he'll play good there either. So, I don't know, bro. That's a question I wish we didn't have to deal with, but it looks like we're going to. Rob Havenstein, I always liked him. I liked him coming out of college. He's been solid, but his time is up here with the Rams, right? So, Malcolm Kuntz, I think this would be an interesting guy to bring in here. He's a DPR kind of guy. He's a designated pass rusher type of dude. So if you want to swap out like Fowler, I think Malcolm Kuntz would be that kind of dude. I'm not sure he fits the measurables that Will McClay likes, though. He's a little bit smaller kind of guy, but he is a pass rusher, right? DJ Reader. I don't think the Cowboys are going to throw more of the defensive tackle position, but I do like DJ Reader. Jimmy Ward, man, I can't believe he's already been in the league 12 years. He was pretty badass coming out. Gosh, dude, time goes by. There's a lot of old, there's going to be a lot of old players in this free agency cycle. I mean, look at Darius Slay, Leonard Floyd. He could be another one of these Will McClay type of dudes who 1-year deal. You know, your former early, I think he was a first round pick too, if I'm not mistaken. Leonard Floyd out of Georgia, right? So, would he would be another one of these guys, right? But a little longer in the tooth. If he's not signed, he would be one of these guys that the Cowboys would probably bring during the season or something like that. But he kind of fits that profile of a Jadeveon Clowney, right? Like older player, former first-round bust. Floyd, I would say that he was a bust, but he didn't really live up to that first-round talent. I mean, Joey Bosa was a bust, though. So these are the type of dudes that McClay will look at. Joey Bosa, Leonard Floyd, 1-year deals. You know, they get the discount because of being a bust, kind of injury prone, this sorts of things. Unfortunately, that's what the Cowboys like to do, man. Right? Tutu Atwell. Okay, here's an interesting one here. Would you sign Tutu Atwell to replace Cavante Turpin? All right, Tutu Atwell, he's another return specialist. Pretty fast player. And he'll catch the ball every now and then, right? I think he didn't really live up to, what they thought he was going to be, like a slot kind of guy, impact your game. I mean, that's kind of been Turpin's thing. Like, oh, we're going to have packages for Cavante Turpin and this and that. His hands are trash, bro. He unnecessarily jumps for the ball, body catcher. Turpin sucks, bro. What do you think about Tutu Atwell? Is that a name that gives you any interest there? As far as like, a replacement for, I think he would be an upgrade over like Turpin in the return game. He'll help you out. I think he gives you more than Mingo's going to give you. So Tutu Atwell. Anybody interested in that name there? All right, keep an eye on that one there. Taysom Hill. Can you believe Taysom Hill's this old? He's about to be 36 coming the next football season, so he's pretty old. Pretty dynamic player, though. I don't think the Cowboys bring him, though. Bobby Wagner. Cowboys fans have been wanting Bobby Wagner here forever. Too damn old now, right? I mean, he's 35. He still puts the numbers in, though, right? So, but I just don't think that's a player that the Cowboys will bring in here. Levante David, another one, kind of up in age. Yader Gross Matos. This would be kind of like at the level of you get an edge rusher here. Gross Matos, former Penn State player, right? Cowboys had interest in him during the draft season. He would be probably somebody the Cowboys would like to bring in here. Maybe like your second or third wave of free agency. Keep an eye on that one there. Thielen washed up. DeMontre Jones. I don't see that one happening. Andre Cisco. All right. I know the Cowboys had interest in him as well. I want to say he was out of Syracuse. Or was it Oregon? I think it was Syracuse. But safety. He might be somebody that you look at here. Kyle Pitts. This is a name that you're going to see some other content creators kind of trying to push as far as like, let's get Kyle Pitts. He hasn't been anything, dude. I mean, I think this last season that he had was his best season, but he's kind of been a no-show for most of his career. He's pretty much a bust. So, honestly, he could be on Will McClay's list here. If you want to move on from Schoonmaker and you think that Brevin Spanford has already hit his ceiling, you give Dak Prescott that catch radius of Kyle Pitts, name recognition, early pick, kind of a bust. Will McClay special. That's Kyle Pitts, right? So, but I feel like he's going to want a decent amount of money. I think that somebody might give him a decent amount of money. I could see him going somewhere like the 49ers or Kansas City, because I think Kelsey's out of there. He'll go somewhere and, be a rotational kind of guy. He'll be using somebody's offense, right? But I don't see him as being like just this badass kind of like move the needle kind of guy. But he is a guy that would be on Will McClay's list. Like I said, first round bust, name recognition. And I think they visited with him in Florida. I think they met with him. So Kyle Pitts, I remember that draft cycle, he was high on a lot of fans' lists. So he'll be available unless they franchise tag him, which I don't think they're going to do. But what do you guys think about Kyle Pitts? Marcus Mariota, Daquan Jones, Kenneth Murray, he's out of here. Connor McGovern, he's going to be available. Did they bring him back? No, I don't think so. Trey Pipkins, that's the name to keep an eye on there for right tackle possibilities. Trey Pipkins. Wide receiver, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. Could you get him cheap? I don't know, probably not. Arden Key. Arden Key would be a name, probably a later second or third wave of free agency, the Cowboys will they might have interest in that one there on a 1-year deal. Arden Key, edge rusher. Another one here, Joseph Asai, Cowboys. They visited with him at the pro day. I think maybe he might have been a 30 visit as well. Hasn't been very productive though. Low sack numbers, just hasn't really lived up to anything. So, but he might be a guy just for the sake of numbers that the Cowboys take a look at. Joseph Asai. Cowboys that's the McClay, dude. He likes familiarity. He likes to go with people they formerly met with, former draft status. That is Will McClay's MO. So he would be that dude. Matt Milano, man, this guy used to be badass when he was healthy, but too injured and never really recovered from the injuries. Serviceable at this point, but that's unfortunate there. Evan Neal. All right, this would be this right here. Evan Neal, he's a bust, right? He's a guard. Still has youth. And this would be another McClay special, another bust. Name recognition. And where would you put him at, right? If the Cowboys were to give him a 1-year deal, where would you plug him in at? So Cowboys, the whole offseason, the speculation, Tyler Smith, is he going to end up being your left tackle? If so, guard opens up. Do you then bring in a former first-round bust, try to reclamate that project, and Evan Neal, a 1 or 2 year deal? That would be a McClay special, Evan Neal, right? It would kind of be like whenever we brought in who was it? Jonathan Cooper, right? Another Alabama bust. He would be kind of like that type of player where, maybe you rectify it and you get him going. But that's when we had a really good O-line coach there. That was who was it? What was the name of that O-line coach we used to have, man? He was pretty good. Oh, man, with Garrett. What was his name, dude? Let me know in the chat box. But anyway, if you could reclaim that would be a Will McClay special there, right? Maybe even as a swing guy, because he has been an utter bust, dude. Zach Wilson, what a bust he's been. I could see him coming in here competing with Joe Milton. And they'll sell it to the fans. Oh, man, Zach Wilson, dude, if he can just stay healthy, he'll compete with Joe Milton and this kind of shit. Like, I'd rather have this dude. I'd rather have Tyrod Taylor as a down backup. Now, here's the name I like. I like AJ Epinesa. But I think the Bills are going to pick up the club option. So I don't think he's going to leave the Bills. I think they keep him. Cole Holcomb, I always liked him out of North Carolina. I liked him when he came out the draft. I think he was drafted by Washington. Here he is here with the Steelers. But never really caught on. Never really hit his potential. Cole Holcomb, he's a linebacker. But, man, you'll see a lot of familiar names here. Look at Kalai Campbell, bro, still playing. Amazing. He's going to be 40. He's going to be in season 19. Does he finally hang it up? Najee Harris, total disappointment there. Do you add him into the mix? Him and Javonte, or do you let Javonte go and bring in Najee? I wouldn't, dude. I think Javonte Williams is a better running back than Najee. Don't have anybody try to sell you on that. Najee Harris is not better than Javonte Williams. All right. If you hear that the Cowboys are not going to bring back Javonte, I guarantee you there's going to be a content creator out there being like, Najee Harris, look at these highlights. He's not good, bro. Najee Harris, too stiff, doesn't have the wiggle room. Never really liked him, dude, but he's going to be available, man. Chargers are not going to re-sign him, but that's a name to watch. Harrison Smith, keep an eye on that one there. only because I love my Notre Dame players, bro. And Anthony Smith's one of the best that has come out as a safety for Notre Dame. But man, gosh, time goes by so fast, bro. He's going to be 37. Incredible, bro. He's been an incredible player. But if you get Flores, bring him in here, bro. I mean, you have to. You have to kick the tires on Harrison Smith. He still has gas in the tank, bro. He still has gas in the tank, bro. So I would love to bring him in here with Brian Flores. It would be a fucking awesome combination. Joe Tryon, former Buck, former first round bust, right? Actually, was he a first round player? Joe, I don't remember if he was a first round guy, but this guy might fit that Will McClay type of deal here, where he's a situational pass rusher, still has youth. You know, he'll be 27. I'm pretty sure he was an early pick, second round maybe. He's not gonna command a big contract though, so he might be on that list. Calvin Noyes, he's already too old. That's crazy. Joe Flacco, bro, can you imagine? He's gonna be 41. Austin Eckler, injury prone as fuck. Charles Omenihu, he might be on the Cowboys list. Cowboys had him in here out of Texas. Charles Omenihu, they liked him. It's amazing he's already played 7 seasons though, but not that good. Rotational guy. Levi Onorizuru, however the fuck you say. Injuries, right, have really robbed him of his career out of Washington. I'm talking college, right? Came out of Washington. I remember that draft cycle. He was high on the Cowboys fans list. He'll be available. You know, would he be an upgrade over what you currently have? I don't know, man. Just he can't stay healthy, right? Raheem Nunez Roches. Here's another one here. Elijah Vera Tucker. Injuries, right? He's been hurt a lot. But would he be an upgrade over Terrence Steele? I say yes. But the health, right? Elijah Vera Tucker. Keep an eye on that name there. Zion Johnson. Remember Zion Johnson? I'm going to say they're going to pick him up, though. I remember the Cowboys fans were high on him. Do you remember that? Zion Johnson out of Boston College? Chargers, right? Haven't kept up with his career with the Chargers. Was he a bust? I don't know. But I remember during the film breakdowns, everybody liked his movement. His lateral movement was good. I remember that he was on the list as a possible pick for the Cowboys. He would be a guy, right? So I mean, depending, is he really going to be available, or is he going to get the? I guess they didn't do the 5th-year option on him. Let me see here. What does it say here for Zion Johnson? Right? Let's take a look here. Looks like they did not pick up his club option. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option, so something happened there. They didn't feel that he was up to snuff to pick up his 5th-year option. They declined it, right? So that's a little bit of a red flag there. Let's take a look at his statistics. Games played. He's played a lot. No injuries. Why did they not give him the tag? Look, he's a former first-round pick. Will McClay, special up the fucking ass. So keep an eye on Zion Johnson, all right? Guard, all right? Depending on what these guys do with Tyler Smith, Tyler Guyton, and Terrence Steele, right? So a lot to think about there, right? So Zion Johnson, possibility, all right? Trevor Penning, remember him, Trevor Penning? Another bust. That would be another damn Will McClay spell. Could they reclaim him? Because I remember when they drafted him, he was a tackle for the Saints. Remember? Trevor Penning. A lot of fans liked him as well. He could be on the move too. So Could you reclaim him at one of the tackle positions? Trevor Penning. I don't know. I really don't think he's that good. But somebody to keep an eye on. Quay Walker, linebacker. Kwity Paye, Michigan. I think his issue was Kwity Paye. I think didn't he have the Achilles, or I think he had some crazy injury. Like he got redshirted, right? If I remember correctly. Could be wrong. Tyler Linderbaum. How is this guy not signed? Did they not pick up his 5th-year option? Let me take a look at this shit here. What's going on here with Linderbaum? How is this fucking shit? Damn, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option? The fuck? But I think there is the window to actually do. I think when is the 5th-year option? I think there's a cutoff though, right? Don't they have to announce the 5th-year option at a certain point? I think that's what the deal is there on that, because I can't imagine they're going to let him go. I think they have. I think the 5th-year option has to be announced. Damn, is it like right before the league year? I think, right? So maybe that's why he's showing up here on the list. That doesn't seem accurate. So, but man, he would be badass. Emmanuel Boga, Noah Brown, Dietrich Weiss, some of these, Devin Bush, Travis Etienne. You know, how would you feel about this dude here? Is he better than Javonte Williams? Greg Newsome, former Cleveland guy. You know, how do you feel about him? I like Greg Newsome coming out of college. Didn't stick with the Browns though. He's there with the Jags. Tevin Jenkins, remember Tevin Jenkins? Keenan Allen, damn, he's old as fuck. Melifonwu, remember his brother? The other Melifonwu, tall ass, long ass arms, total bust. This is the other Melifonwu. He's available as a cornerback. It's a guy you might be interested in here. Garoppolo, Tyler Conklin, Ojulari. I think he started with the Giants, didn't he? Or is that the other Ojulari? I'm thinking BJ Ojulari. No, this is Aziz Ojulari, right? So, oh, here we go, right here. Caleb Jason. This is a Will McClay special up the fucking ass. He was even rumored at one point that the Cowboys were interested in him whenever he was in free agency. So with Caleb Jason, Cowboys had him in as a 30 visit. They were high on him. I remember when we were that draft cycle, he was the possible pick, right? And that ended up going to I think it was Lamb, right? That's who ended up taking. But I remember Caleb on Chase. He would be a McClay special, right? First round bust, can give you some juice. He's kind of rectified his career there with the Patriots. He's a situational guy, though. He's not a 4-down guy, right? He's more of a DPR and average at that. He's just name recognition. LJ Collier, Cowboys, I think they had interest in him when he came out. Started with the Seahawks, kind of bounced around now. Tim Settle, bro. I like him as a defensive tackle, bro. Tim Settle, if they don't keep Clark, this is a guy I would bring in here. Tim Settle. He's solid, bro. I've always liked him. He's got a good engine, penetrates. I've liked him. So even coming out of college, I'm one of the Cowboys that take him, but he's been good everywhere he's been. You know, he's been a key factor in a lot of these defenses. So Tim Settle, I mean, if they don't bring back Clark, give me Tim Settle. You know, see what kind of deal you can get on that dude there. Tressway, punter. Odafe Oweh, another dude here, right? Possible, maybe. Jahan Dotson, Penn State, wide receiver, bust to bust. Do you bring him in here to replace Turpin? Dowdle, he's going to be available again. Can you imagine, dude, if they were to bring back Dowdle, bro? Denzel Perryman, bro. I've always liked him. Out of the U. Doesn't hit the measurables though that the Cowboys like, right? He's a little bit shorter, stocky linebacker, shorter arms, but man, this guy he plays. He kind of reminds me of Denzel Perryman. Kind of reminds me of a little bit lower tier Zach Thomas. You remember old school Zach Thomas, the Miami Dolphin legend of legends, drafted by. Oh boy, right here. Jimmy Johnson, fucking dude, knew how to fucking find talent, bro. Zach Thomas, god dang it, man. He was the best talent evaluator the Cowboys ever had. Son of a bitch. But anyway, I like him, but man, he's up there in age now. 33. Trubisky, total bust. Man, he's old too. 31 already? Shit. DJ Humphries. Now, this was a mammoth tackle. Kind of bounced around a little bit, but he's kind of like one of those hired mercenary tackle kind of guys, right? It's somebody that you bring in here for like a year, 1 year deal as a bridge player type of dude. Nick Chubb, a running back. I mean, as you're going through this list, you see a lot of name recognition. Davenport, former first-round bust. Jeff Okudah, right? This is the guy I was talking about. Played for the Vikings. If Flores is here, did he like him enough to bring him here? That would be a McClay special right there. Jeff Okudah. That would be like that freaking Kyer Elam type of shit. Basically, Jeff Okudah, Kyer Elam, they would be the same kind of shit. People will try to sell you it that he has something good still. I don't see it, man. Jeff Okudah he wasn't good. Logan Hall, he's pretty good. I don't think that's accurate. That's probably one of those fifth-year option kind of deals where this shit hasn't updated yet. Breece Hall, they're not going to bring him back. They're not going to franchise tag him. That is a name to watch. Right? Breece Hall. Would you take him over Javonte Williams? Let me know in the chat box what you think. Liam Eichenberg, former Notre Dame guy, right? Tackle, guard. Keep an eye on that one there. He can play. Arnold Ebedeke, right? This might be one of those fifth-year option kind of deals. I like him. Will Hernandez, remember that guy? Boye Mafe. He's good, bro. But this has got to be one of those fifth-year option shits. Let me take a look. I don't think they took him in the fifth round, though. I mean, the first round. Let me see. No, he is. He is a free agent, bro. I like Boye Mafe. But I think he's been such a big part of their defense this year. They probably tagged this fucking guy, man. I liked him coming out. Not high sack numbers, but he's been a good situational player. Boye Mafe. I remember he came out of I think it was Minnesota. Yep, Minnesota. He would be a guy in here possibly to bring in here, put him in the mix as a pass rusher kind of dude, right? A lot of free agents, man. Wandale Robinson, John Mechie, the speedster out of Alabama, bust. That would be another one of those one of those dudes, right? Like, who do we bring in here? Paris Campbell. Remember, he was a former first-round bust. John Mechie would be that for us this year. He would be this year's Paris Campbell. You bring him the camp, former first-round guy, bust, right? John Mechie would be that speed guy, right? Cowboys have an MO. Remember that. So when you're looking at these, David Ajobo, no, I think David Ajobo was the one that had the Achilles, not Kwity Paye. I think it was, I think that's right. I think David Ajobo was the guy that got redshirted, torn Achilles. Yeah, that's who it was. Joshua Uche, another Michigan dude. I like this one right here, bro. Jaquan Brisker, dude. You're going to pay money for this one, though. And I don't think the Cowboys would go in on him. He's a round 2 guy, so there's no 5th-year option. He will be unrestricted free agent, Jaquan Brisker, unless they tag him. You know? I like Jaquan Brisker. I think that's a name to keep an eye on. If the Cowboys want to dabble on the first wave, because I think Brisker would be in that first wave there. But yeah, man, just a lot of names here. Look at that, Sky Moore. Remember this dude? Try to sell him to us. I knew he wasn't gonna be about shit. Man, a lot of names, man. Just a lot of guys. Like I said, just keep an eye on that. You know, like I said, like there was Felipe Franks. That was Mike's guy. He's a free agent, right? But that's the list, man. Like, just think about what the Cowboys have done in the past. Like I said, they really do need to change how they go into free agency. You know, they gotta go in and spend a little money if they want to change anything up. If they don't, though, you know, the blueprint's there. Like I said, they'll look at the name recognition, draft status, were they a previous 30 visit, pro day visit, and then they'll bring them in here on a short-term deal. So I gave you a lot of names there that the Cowboys could look at as a Will McClay special. Gave you some of the names that I would like to bring in here. Let's see how they look at it. You know, let's see what they do, man. Do they change it up, or is it going to be the same old? You know, Jerry kind of makes it look like they're going to do something a little bit different. Until I see something different, I don't believe it. You know, so we'll see. That was the name I was looking at. Mark Colombo. Yeah, so Colombo, right? That's a guy that I really thought was a really good offensive line coach for the Cowboys. And it's taken us a while, man. I'm not even sure that Clayton Adams has been the guy, or Connor Riley. You know what I mean? I still think that old Mark Colombo he had these guys locked in, man. And he was a guy that was able to elevate Jonathan Cooper, right? Former first round bust. So do you have that guy on the team right now? I don't know that you do, but a lot of names, man. A lot of former first round busts. Probably Will McClay is kind of chomping at the bit, man. He's chomping at the bit. He's got a list of these guys, and I guarantee you that a lot of these guys that I mentioned will be on McClay's list for the second and third wave of free agency. Guys with the bust factor, name recognition, guys. But that's what we have tonight, man. It was a great night of Saturday night antics, bro.
Pound that like button before we head out, boys.
Do appreciate it, man. Can't do this without you. It's another year here of the Cowboys blog, right? CowboysBlog.net. Hit it up, man. Give a subscription here. Really helps us out here at the channel with the upgrades and everything that we got going on here at the channel. We're going to be deep into it. We're going to be looking at the Senior Bowl here coming up here later this month, right? Senior Bowl. Take a look at those prospects for you guys. Take a look at who could be on possible sites for the Cowboys, who I like, and who Will McClay and these clowns might like. So I'm going to do that this year, really give you two sides of the coin, who I would look at in my anticipation on the other side of the coin, what McClay and McBust and these dudes are going to do, because you got to look at it that way, right? You got to look at both sides of it. You can't lock in on one player and then that's it, right? So we'll take a look at that, man. But thank you again, guys. Happy New Year's, like I said, and we'll see you back here. We'll do the end of season show. You know what I mean? Sunday. I'll give you my thoughts on the last game of the season, final thoughts, and then I'll give you my autopsy of the 2026 season, and then we're gonna hit the ground running as far as like keeping an eye out on the defensive coordinator. I gave you the timeline on that, so expect there to be a little bit of a wait there. It won't be instant. There'll be some waiting time here before we do get somebody nailed down. But anybody better than Eberflus, we're gonna be okay. I do believe that. I don't want to see them elevate White Cotton, however. Don't fuck this shit up. Bring in another guy who can bring in his own staff. All right, that's all I have tonight, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody in the chat box. Appreciate the comments. Another awesome night. Saturday Night Antics, bro. Peace out, everybody.